Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to go over our daily technical analysis update for gold and silver. We're going to go into the dollar, the 10-year yield, the precious metals, ETFs, and then some of the companies and royalty companies. We'll get a good picture here. I think it's looking better. Things look like they're turning around a little bit, so we'll take a look at the charts, let the charts do the talking. Again, this is just my financial opinion. Please don't use it as advice. And here we go, jumping into the charts, starting with the dollar. So, zooming out, big picture view, dollar. We've got this big trend line that we broke to the downside in 2020. We've been moving on up in the short term. The dollar has been getting pretty strong in relationship to everything else. You can see it. We came into a ascending wedge, broke to the downside, and we're kind of drifting higher slowly. That's kind of what it looks like, just kind of drifting upward. So the dollar is getting stronger. I don't know if it necessarily means anything because we've got inflation worldwide. It's just the strongest of the paper currencies. But it's been drifting kind of upward. The 10-year yield took a nice hard bounce off this support, and we're coming back up yield-wise. We were up 3.21% today. Big picture view, we've got this capitulation bottom in the early 2020s, mid-2020s. We've got an inverted head and shoulder pattern. It's this inverted head and shoulders. We've got the neckline here, and I think we're going to move on up eventually over time. So higher interest rates, and I think we're going into an increasing interest rate environment going forward from the 2020s. So I think that will continue. Higher rates will force money to rotate into precious metals and commodities eventually. Doesn't mean it will be quick, doesn't mean it will be swift, it will be slow, and just money will continue to keep flowing over into, I think, eventually precious metals and commodities. Here's gold. We've got the 1, 2, 3. We're about to break to the upside at some point, I think. This is what it looks like on the short term. Let's zoom in even more, We had this downward channel. We've got this nice kind of support line going across here. What we did is we played with the support line. We came down, broke out of the channel, broke out of this resistance line, and now we're above that resistance line, which will now become support. Now, there's some other people talking about a potential deflationary move coming up. I don't necessarily know that. I think we're still moving on up. That's been my opinion. And I know some people were talking about it in the comment section about Market Sniper coming out with a brand new clip, and he is pretty good. So I'll remain open. But right now, I'm still bullish on these sectors. And this is silver. Let me zoom in here. This is a reverse head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders. That is negated. We pulled on back. I'm looking for support here. Let's zoom way in on the right-hand side. We've got support there. Let's zoom in again. The support's holding right now. I'm going to move that to the right. And if we break below this, then yeah, I think we are going to have a pullback. But right now, it's holding. It's looking all right. And then platinum's painting even a better picture than the rest. So platinum's got this gigantic pattern. We broke to the upside, doing a return move. We're going to zoom in on the return move here. We've got a nice little descending wedge pattern at the tip here. Let's keep zooming in on it. This is your descending wedge. We broke to the upside. We've been grinding sideways, and we just popped higher today. It looks like the buyers are in control. I think this looks really good to potentially move on higher. The 1 year, you can see this nice bullish kind of pattern coming up, and we're getting a little bit of traction here to move on up. We might bounce sideways for a little while with this little wick at the top today. Maybe we get a couple little down days or something over the next couple of days. If we do that, I'll probably buy a little bit more platinum, physical platinum. This is where I'm going to cost average in. XAU to gold ratio. We are back out here a little bit. We've been the big picture. We broke the big picture going down, coming on up, moving sideways, going to a 5-year. We tried breaking out of this line. We moved on back. I think eventually we'll take it out. Looks like we've got some bullish action going here where the the gold miners can outperform gold on the short term. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm kind of open. I don't really have a huge direction here. Just looking at this, I mean, you could say it's like a shoulder, head, shoulder. We got to give it more time. So I'm just kind of remaining open. Looking at some of the individual, let's go into the ETFs first. Here's SILJ. SILJ, nice big update today, 2.36%. Looking pretty good. We broke through this kind of downtrend line coming up here. Let's see if it holds. Not much else to say, really. GDX, looking at the sky. We got support here. Let me back out a little bit. Oh, we're right here. Wicks on the bottom, moving on up. We're probably going to grind sideways for a little bit. That's kind of my guess before moving on higher. Metallic minerals grinding sideways. A little bit of an update today. Let's zoom in on this. Really just grinding sideways. Not much really to say. We're below the resistance lines in the chart. Let me delete that one out. Just been grinding sideways with it. Koya silver, it's still in a downtrend. Haven't seen it broke yet. Discovery silver, moving on up. It looks like it's slowing its momentum a little bit. We could see a little bit of pressure to the downside if the sellers step in here. Here's AG. AG's got a nice, good bullish, piercing, engulfing pattern. Maybe we can make a little run higher here. Let's zoom in on it. Back out a little. I went too far in. We got some wicks on the bottom, moving on up. I'd like to see this thing move on up here. We got to back out. I'm getting too far in here. Big picture view. 1, 2, 3, and then this thing's going to break at some point here. You just got to be patient, guys. It will break, but it may take some time. Newmont's got the nice little wick hammer pattern setting up here on a monthly basis. We're playing with the support line, but we're still above it. So that one looks okay. Yamana Gold's in the same thing. We're in a just gigantic... We broke out of this big pattern here. We're in a descending wedge pattern, which usually breaks to the upside statistically. And we're right at the tip of the descending wedge that we need to break. We have not broken out yet, but we broke this little downtrend line. Impact silver could be like a double bottom here, potentially. Let's zoom out. Broke to the downside of this guy, broke this downtrend line. Now we got to move on higher. There it is, zoomed in. We broke that recent downtrend just today. So hopefully we can get some momentum to the upside. And then we've got this little downward channel here that we broke to the upside for Aftermath Silver, AAGFF. That would be one that I would be looking to purchase if you want a silver mining company, as it's really, really low right here. And I think it's a really good entry point for Aftermath Silver. And that's kind of the big picture view. Now, some people are saying, could this be like a shoulder head? It's not really a shoulder head shoulder, I don't think. There's the big long-term picture view of it. It's probably a pretty good spot right here if you're a very patient long-term investor. Here's sand. Sand is playing with its support line, long-term support line. We are below it, so, I mean, we still need to pop back above it. It's going to take some buying pressure to get there. And that's what we're waiting for. Buyers to step in. Franco-Nevada is playing with its lower support line on this gigantic pattern here. That's what it looks like. We're putting in a little wick on the bottom. I do think that this will break to the upside eventually. Just give it it's going to need a lot of time. It's not going to be quick. EMX looks like it's trying to get back up. Nice big 5.86% today. Good move for EMX. There we are, hitting our head on this. Is this a back test where we're going to head lower, or is this something that we're going to break this resistance line and come back up? We'll find out tomorrow and the end of this week. Tune Resources blew through its resistance line to the upside, 10.3% update today. Looks like it's hanging up there right now at the moment. So that's good. So this could be a slingshot pattern where it comes down and then slingshots higher. Wheaton Precious Metals. It is still in this massive pattern that we're in. I'm just waiting for a break to the upside, and I think we'll see a large move once it breaks. Very large move when that breaks. Gold royalty companies break into the downside here on the short term. I probably wouldn't be doing much of anything. I'm not doing anything with my shares. I'm just holding on. Metalla royalty streaming breaking its downtrend. Looks like it's trying to come back up into this pattern. It's real messy here. We put the log on. There we go. We got the log. That's where we are right now. Just kind of dipping out of the downside of it. Hopefully we don't break to the downside, but hold and start moving on higher, which we did today. We're moving on higher. Let's hopefully the momentum can continue. Mavericks Metals. This is another royalty company. Looking at this could break down, but it's got some support. We got this pattern here. Broke to the downside, did a back test, and let's see if we can move on up. But things aren't looking too hot for this. We could break to the downside on a lot of these gold and silver mining companies. It's in the realm of possibility because we are playing with all the lower trend lines here on all of them. We're playing with the lower end, and sometimes we could break to the downside. We've been grinding on this lower level for a lot of them, and that sometimes means it could potentially break to the downside, but the market conditions would suggest that we're going to the upside. So what I do is I just wait. This one looks good. It's got buying pressure today. Let it ride. And here's Cisco Gold. It's also playing with the lower. It's been playing with the lower end here. Here, and now we're playing with the lower side again. We were playing with the upper side as well, quite a bit as well. So we're bouncing back and forth between resistance and support for Cisco Gold royalties. So I'm not doing much with mine. I'm just holding on. I do think that platinum's looking a little bit better. If we get a pullback, I'm going to be a buyer again. I'm going to buy some physical metals. I'm going to continue to cost average in to the physical metals. So overall, I mean, gold, silver, platinum had a good day today. A lot of the equities and mining companies had pretty good performance today. Hopefully it can continue and we continue to move up. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you like the channel. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.